If you get up in the morning and think the future is going to be better, it is a bright day. Otherwise, it's not. Pay attention to negative feedback and solicit it, particularly from friends. People should pursue what they are passionate about. That will make them happier than pretty much anything. The value of beauty and inspiration is very much underrated, no question. But I want to be clear, I'm not trying to be anyone's savior. I'm just trying to think about the future and not be sad. There have to be reasons that you get up in the morning and you want to live. Why do you want to live? What's the point? What inspires you? What do you love about the future? If the future does not include being out there among the stars and being a multi-planet species, I find that incredibly depressing. As a child, I hated being alone. As an adult, I don't want to be alone. It makes one really miserable. I would tell those people they will get to see their families a lot when we go bankrupt. That's my lesson for taking a vacation. Vacation will kill you. When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor. No, I don't ever give up. I'd have to be dead or completely incapacitated. Persistence is very important. You should not give up unless you are forced to give up. The first step is to establish that something is possible, then probability will occur. There are way easier places to work, but nobody ever changed the world on 40 hours a week. The company was bleeding money like crazy, and if we didn't solve these problems in a very short period of time, we would die. You have to be pretty driven to make it happen. Otherwise, you will just make yourself miserable. There's a tremendous bias against taking risks. Everyone is trying to optimize their ass covering. It is possible for ordinary people to choose to be extraordinary. It is a mistake to hire huge numbers of people to get a complicated job done. Numbers will never compensate for talent in getting the right answer. Two people who don't know something are no better than one, will tend to slow down progress, and will make the task incredibly expensive. A company is a group organized to create a product or service, and it is only good as its people and how excited they are about creating. I do want to recognize a ton of super talented people. I just happen to be the face of the companies. People work better when they know what the goal is and why. It is important that people look forward to coming to work in the morning and enjoy working. The biggest mistake, in general, I've made, is to put too much of a weighting on someone's talent and not enough on their personality. And I've made that mistake several times. I think it actually matters whether somebody has a good heart. It really does. I've made the mistake of thinking that it's sometimes just about the brain. Talent is extremely important. It's like a sports team. The team that has the best individual will often win. but then there's a multiplier from how those players work together and the strategy they employ. They were building a Ferrari for every launch when it was possible that a Honda Accord might do the trick. I do think there is a lot of potential if you have a compelling product and people are willing to pay a premium for that. I think that is what Apple has shown. You can buy a much cheaper cell phone or laptop, but Apple's product is so much better than the alternative, and people are willing to pay that premium. There are two things required when launching new affordable technology. The first is economies of scale, and the other is the need to design and iterate things. Sometimes, you might be forced to change the version a few times. Disruptive technology where you really have a big technology discontinuity tends to come from new companies. Brand is just a perception, and perception will match reality over time. Sometimes it will be ahead, other times it will be behind. But brand is simply a collective impression some have about a product. I don't believe in process. In fact, when I interview a potential employee and he or she says that it's all about the process, I see that as a bad sign. The problem is that at a lot of big companies, process becomes a substitute for thinking. You're encouraged to behave like a little gear in a complex machine. Frankly, it allows you to keep people who aren't that smart, who aren't that creative. Starting and growing a business is as much about the innovation, drive, and determination of the people as the product they sell. You shouldn't do things differently just because they are different. They need to be better. If something has to be designed and invented, and you have to figure out how to ensure that the value of the thing you create is greater than the cost of the inputs, then that is probably my core skill. I think that's the single best piece of advice. Constantly think about how you could be doing things better and questioning yourself. You should take the approach that you're wrong. Your goal is to be less wrong. Constantly seek criticism. A well thought out critique of whatever you're doing is as valuable as gold. It's mostly about the bandwidth, the speed of the connection between your brain and the digital version of yourself, particularly output. The thing that drives me is that I want to be able to think about the future and feel good about that. Your will is the most accurate way to predict the future. If you think about and sort of look ahead and see about a future where we're out there exploring the stars and understanding the universe and the kind of things that you see in science fiction books and movies and reading books, that's an exciting future and much more exciting than one where we're just forever confined to Earth until our eventual extinction. Some people don't like change, but you need to embrace change if the alternative is disaster. The path to the CEO's office should not be through the CFO's office. And it should not be through the marketing department. It needs to be through engineering and design. Don't tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. If I'm not in love, if I'm not with a long-term companion, I cannot be happy. If you want to grow a giant redwood, you need to make sure the seeds are okay, nurture the sapling, and work out what might potentially stop it from growing all the way along. Anything that breaks it at any point stops that growth. Trying to read our DNA is like trying to understand software code, with only 90% of the code riddled with errors. It's very difficult in that case to understand and predict what that software code is going to do. It's very important to like the people you work with. Otherwise, your job is going to be quite miserable.